Okay, students, good morning. In the last class, we were studied about the property, important or general properties of compounds of alkaline earth metal, isn't it? In that, we studied about oxides and hydroxide, and about halides, and also about oxide, that is superoxide. Salts of superoxide, isn't it? After that, we studied about anomalous properties of beryllium, isn't it? So whenever we consider beryllium, it has a different property. So that's why we have to know why these property has a different nature. For that, we got four reasons. First one is its smallest size, its high ionization enthalpy, so then it's covalent nature due to small size itself, and last one due to absence of d orbital. So these four were very important things which can explain the anomalous properties of beryllium. Clear? So here, after that, we'll study diagonal relationship with aluminium and beryllium. See, beryllium is your second group element and we are comparing it with aluminium. Okay, so it has a diagonal relationship due to its similar size. See, this is very important, student. It has a similar size, so that's why we have to study it in a same thing. See, whenever we consider beryllium ion with Be2 plus oxidation state, its radii is around 31 to 32 picometer. It is around 31 to 32 picometer. But whenever we consider the aluminium ion, it is almost same as that of beryllium ion. Clear? So this is nothing but your ionic radii. Okay, these are nothing but ionic radii. So those are always same, almost same. So that's why it has a diagonal relationship. It has a similarity between both the case. Is it clear? So now in that case, what will be the proof for this? Isn't it? We explained about its diagonal relationship because it has the same size. For that, we have to give some proof, isn't it? In that first one, student, in that first one, see, whenever we consider oxides of aluminium or lithium, clear? So whenever we consider beryllium and whenever we consider beryllium and aluminium, so these were not readily reacts with acid reacts with acid, and the reason for this is beryllium and aluminium is not readily react with acid because of formation of oxide film. In a both case, it will form films of oxide on the surface. Clear? So that is on the surface. This is very important. Clear? On the first layer. So that's why relative speed of the reaction with lithium and aluminium and with what oxide or acid is a little bit slower. So reason for that is formation of oxide film. So that is the first reason. So which explain the relationship with aluminium and beryllium. Both have less reactivity towards acid due to formation of oxide film on the surface of lithium and aluminium. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? And the second important property or second important proof for the diagonal relationship is both beryllium and lithium can form berylate and aluminate ions. See, whenever I'll consider beryllium hydroxide, wherever we consider beryllium hydroxide, and it dissolve in water, and it produce berylate ion. We know berylate ion, isn't it? Composition of berylate ion is BeOH with 4 times with -2 berylate ion. So this is one is berylate ion. Clear? Same, aluminum hydroxide composition, students see aluminium with +3 oxidation state, hydroxyl with -1 oxidation state. So that's why we consider aluminium hydroxide. Aluminium hydroxide also dissolve in water. It also dissolve in water to forms aluminate ion. Clear? So that is very important. Aluminate ion, see, aluminium hydroxyl group. See here 3 molecule, here we use 4 molecules with -1 oxidation state, and this is aluminate ion. So this one is aluminate ion. See students, these are very important. Both beryllium and aluminum hydroxide, when dissolved in water, it gives respective ions, that is berylate ion and aluminate ion. So this is another important property which can explain the relationship between lithium and aluminum and beryllium. Is it clear? So second one, beryllium or aluminum hydroxide, when it is dissolved in water, it gives berylate ion and aluminate ion respectively. So this is very important. See, check the oxidation state, student. Aluminum with +3 oxidation state. There were 4 hydroxyl group. There were 4 hydroxyl groups. See, and these hydroxyl, 3 hydroxyl group was satisfied with +3 oxidation state, isn't it? And remaining one we notify here. Is it clear? Is it clear? So third one, very important one, third one, which we already know because of its covalent nature itself. Both chlorides of beryllium and lithium, both that is beryllium chloride and aluminum chlorides. Any idea, student, solubility? Yes, which are soluble in organic solvent. Those are soluble in organic solvent due to its covalent nature, That is very important, student. So those are soluble in organic solvent, just like ethanol, ethyl alcohol, whatever it is. Okay. So due to its covalent nature, those are readily soluble in organic solvent. Is it clear? Now my question, say student, I am asking the question now. So in that case, these two are Lewis acid or Lewis base. Is these two compounds were Lewis acid or Lewis base? Can you explain this property? So those were Lewis acid or Lewis base. Can you explain? See, I'll consider beryllium chloride. There were 2 chlorides, and in case of aluminum 3. So now my question, these are Lewis acid or Lewis base, student? These are Lewis acid or Lewis base. These can accept electron or release electron, because we are studying about Lewis acid. Okay, we are considering Lewis. So I'll write here. See, here I write here, Lewis acid. We already know Lewis acid is nothing but electron acceptor, AA, electron acceptor. And the Lewis base is nothing but electron donor, which we already know, isn't it? So now my question, these were acids or base? This has a maximum number of electron or deficiency of electron? Yeah, almost same answer. Those are nothing but Lewis acid. See student, why we have to consider it as a Lewis acid? See, in a Lewis case, especially in a Lewis case, we consider octet structure as a highly stable structure. That is nothing but electron exact structure, isn't it? But whenever we consider beryllium and aluminum, which has a deficiency of electron, because in this case, for octet, it needs again 4 electrons, isn't it? And in this case, it needs 2 electrons. That means it needs electron to complete its octet. So that's why we consider it as a Lewis acid. We consider it as a Lewis acid. Is it clear? Because these are electron acceptor. Is this clear, students? So this is very important point you have to remember. And in case of halide, we already studied the reason for this, isn't it? So next one, and the fifth point is both beryllium and aluminum can have the tendency to produce. It has tendency to produce complex. It has a tendency to produce complex. I already told you about complex, isn't it? If we write it in a coordination entity, it will be in a complex form. So whenever we consider beryllium with fluorine, see the structure, student. Beryllium has a tetrafluoride state with a -2 oxidation state, just like this one. Beryllium hydroxide, beryllium fluoride with -2 oxidation state. Like that, aluminum also reacts with fluoride. It gives -2 oxidation state or -3 oxidation state, student. Just tell me. In this case, it is -2 or -3. Aluminium +3 oxidation state, fluoride is -1 oxidation state. What will be the oxidation state over aluminium fluoride? Hold this compound. What will be the oxidation state of Whole ion, whole compound. Can you answer? I'll just remove this, okay? I'll take that example here. See, student, in case of complex, isn't it? Here, these compounds will form complex. For example, here I'll consider beryllium fluoride. So that is with 4 molecules. And here, I took -2 charge. And reason I already explained, isn't it? Beryllium with +2 oxidation state, we know. And fluorine with -1 oxidation state. There were 4 fluorine. There were 4 fluorine, isn't it? So now these two were balanced, isn't it? +2 and -2 balanced, it is neutral. And the remaining thing is -2, that will write here, -2. Just like that, aluminium fluoride, aluminium with F6. What will be the charge over this one, student? What will be the charge on aluminium fluoride, F6? Yeah, just tell me. Again, I'll write here, Al with the +3 oxidation state. There were fluorine, F fluorines, F, and F. There were 6 fluorine ions. So there were 6 fluorine ion. In that 3 will neutralize this aluminium +3. +3 will be neutralized by this one. And the remaining is -3. So that's why we write here -3. You have to know these things, okay? Why we consider -3 charge, why we consider +2 charge, why we consider -2 charge. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? So these can form, or it has a tendency to produce a complex compound. So that is the thing. But beryllium fluoride, you see, even though beryllium has only 2 valency, it can form fluoride ion with the elimination of -2 oxidation state. Is it clear, students? So this is very important point, 5th point, which explains similarity between aluminium and beryllium. And the last point I'll consider here, see, student, in the last point, that is 6th point, I think, I'll consider 6th point, see, chlorides of beryllium and also aluminium, beryllium and aluminium, both can form chloride bridge in a vapor state. It can form chloride bridge in a vapor state. See, in the last class, we studied about structure of beryllium in a vapor state, isn't it? Just tell me, what will be the structure of beryllium chloride in a vapor state? Yeah, we have to use one word. Dimer, very good, dimer, polymer. In that case, it is dimer, okay? It is dimer. That means you have to consider, it is beryllium chloride monomer, it is monomer, student. But in a vapor state, or in a gaseous state, those will be in the form of Be2Cl4. See, why we consider beryllium chloride in the dimer form? See, this is dimer form, student, because 2 monomers were attached. So this is dimer. So now I'll draw the structure for dimer. Student. See, beryllium and beryllium. There were 2 beryllium ion, and here I'll consider Cl and Cl. So there is one attraction force, Cl, and there is another attraction force, Cl, like this. Isn't it? So this is nothing but structure of beryllium chloride in a vapor state. It has a vapor state structure, and this we call as a chloride bridge. Clear? And for this we call it as a chloride bridge. So this is very important. See, bridge of chloride or chloride bridge. We consider it as chloride bridge. Clear? So just like that, if we consider aluminium, see, aluminium chloride has a AlCl3. It is also monomer. And aluminium chloride also exists as a dimer in a vapor state. It is also exists in a dimer as a in a vapor state. It exists as a dimer. And the structure for this one is, this is a dimer, okay? And the structure for this one, I'll draw here, aluminium, okay? So then another aluminium. So Cl, and here it will be Cl, and then Cl, and this one is Cl, and there will attraction force, see, that will, I'll change the ink, see, like this. And again, there is a chloride bridge, isn't it? So that is also one similarity between beryllium and aluminum. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So both have. See, if in case I'll consider this is one aluminum chloride and this is another aluminum chloride. Both were attached with the force of attraction. Is it clear? In this case also. So this is one beryllium chloride. This is another beryllium chloride. Those were in the form of dimer. It is only in a vapor state. I'm stressing it. It is only in a vapor state because whenever we consider solid state, it will be in a chain-like structure or a polymeric structure, isn't it? So that's why remember in a vapor state, it is always in a dimer form. Is it clear, students? So these are nothing but similarity between beryllium and aluminum. Is it clear? Is it clear? First one, it's reactivity with acid. Second one is about hydroxide. Third one is about chlorides, that is soluble in soluble in organic solvent due to its covalent nature. So then about its Lewis acid, it is Lewis acid. Then this one, complex formation, and last one is it clear? Okay, so next one, see, here we have to study some important compounds of alkaline earth metal, okay? We have to consider some important compounds of alkaline earth metal. In that case, there were so many, okay? Calcium hydroxide is there, calcium carbonate is there, calcium hydroxide is there, next calcium sulfate is there. Clear? In this, we'll study about calcium hydroxide and calcium sulfate. So, and these two are removed portions, okay? That I'll consider first one. So that is nothing but formation of calcium hydroxide. See, important compound, that is nothing but calcium. So that is calcium hydroxide. Anything, what it is called as, student? Calcium hydroxide composition we already know. So that is CaOH twice. It is also known as, any idea, student? So this is known as limestone, calcium oxide. It is also known as, students, can you reply? Yes, slaked lime, isn't it? What about calcium oxide? What it is called as calcium oxide? Any idea? Calcium oxide, which is also called as, yeah, quicklime or lime, quicklime. And for calcium carbonate, Shilpa, yeah, limestone. It is limestone. And for calcium hydroxide, it is slaked lime itself. Slaked lime. And last one, calcium sulfate. It depends. Okay, it depends. Yeah, it depends. It may be plaster of Paris or else simply gypsum. It depends on water content, okay? It depends on water content. See, student, first one I'll consider slaked lime. It is also known as slaked lime. So, see, student, you have to remember these words. So, this is slaked lime. See, in the last exam, we got one washing soda, isn't it? Na2CO3. You have to remember, it is high school portion. You studied already, isn't it? So, that's why you have to remember. Some of you written Ma2CO3. I don't know what is Ma. Huh? So don't write in this way. Just confirm the things, then write. Okay. See, it is a slaked lime, isn't it? So now question arises, how this slaked lime can be prepared? Any idea, student, how it can be prepared? How calcium hydroxide can be prepared? Because we know calcium oxide is there, calcium carbonate is there, calcium sulfate is there. Any one method for the preparation of this one? Because limestone exists or lime exists in a, yes, lime with water, very good. So whenever, so preparation method, calcium oxide is treated with water, it gives calcium hydroxide. This is very important method. Calcium oxide reacts with H2O, that is water. It gives calcium hydroxide. Very important. So now the thing, if in case we are considering that solid, what will be the nature of solid? What will be the state of solid? What will be the state? See, student, we use state of solid. There were two types of state. One is amorphous. Another one is crystalline. One is amorphous, and one is crystalline. I'll just give one example. For amorphous, it is powdered form. It is powdered form. And for crystalline, it is crystal form. Crystal. For example, salt, regular salt is a crystalline solid. If in case you are considering any flour, it is nothing but amorphous. Okay, it is amorphous. If you take a powder, any powder, okay, any powder, it will be again amorphous itself. That is the difference, okay. So now in this case, calcium hydroxide, what about calcium hydroxide? It is, which state it has? See student, whenever we consider calcium hydroxide, it has a amorphous, it has a amorphous. It has a amorphous. So state of calcium hydroxide is amorphous. Okay. State of calcium hydroxide. Next comes solubility. Is it soluble? See, again we use three words: soluble, insoluble, sparingly soluble. Okay, soluble, insoluble, sparingly soluble. What about soluble? It is completely soluble. Okay, whenever we add salt to water, it completely soluble. Insoluble, if in case we are considering any water, flour or any powder in a compound, it is insoluble, isn't it? So next one, if in case I'll consider, it is not about PPT, but it is sparingly soluble. That means half done. Okay, it is yeah yeah it is not completely soluble, but there will be traces amount of salt. Just it appear like a PPT itself, but it is not a PPT. PPT is formed by the product. Okay, but here it is insoluble. That means some of the salt may be insoluble. Solubility range is very less. So that's why we consider sparingly soluble. So that is very important. Sparingly soluble. In Kannada, it is ardhambarda. Okay, sparingly soluble. See, next one is, it is sparingly soluble in water. Very important thing, you have to remember it. Is it clear? So next important you have to remember about calcium hydroxide. See student, I already told you it is sparingly soluble in water. It is sparingly soluble in water. Now I'll just filter that solution. I'll filter that solution. Okay. I already told the solution is not completely soluble in the solvent. Solute is not completely soluble. So that's why there will be some traces amount of salt. Okay. So that's why I'll just filter it. Okay, and the filtrate is nothing but the aqueous. See, we use here aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide is known as any idea student what we call aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide is known as, yes, it is known as lime water. It is known as lime water, and this we'll use in a salt analysis. So you going to use this in a salt analysis process, okay, in a laboratory. So this is nothing but lime water. Clear? Is it clear? Aqueous solution of calcium oxide. When you filter the solution, and the filtrate is nothing but, okay. And the next one. Suspension of slaked lime. Very important. See, I'll write here. Suspension of calcium hydroxide, that is the slaked lime itself, is known as, any idea students? See here three words comes. First one is slaked lime, next one lime water, and third one, see, I already told it is insoluble. That means solubility is less. It is not a completely soluble. It is half done, isn't it? And that solution, that is heterogeneous solution, that is not a homogeneous solution. Okay, that heterogeneous solution is known as, that hetero suspension of calcium hydroxide is known as, very important, milk of lime. It is known as milk of lime. See, very important, you may get this question: what is milk of lime, what is lime water, and what is slaked lime? You have to know its composition. Okay, slaked lime, calcium hydroxide itself. Aqueous solution of calcium hydroxide is known as lime water, and suspension of calcium hydroxide is known as milk of lime. I already told you, if in case you are considering water, in that you are adding calcium hydroxide, in that case this whole thing is known as milk of lime. Milk of lime. And if in case you are filtrating this whole solution, and you'll get filtrate, and this is nothing but lime water. This is nothing but lime water. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? Is it clear about slaked lime? So next one, very important one. What happens when slaked lime react with water? Calcium hydroxide reacts with water. Student, can you reply? Sorry, not water. It's carbon dioxide, okay? Carbon dioxide. Calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide. Which product it may form? Which product it may form? Yes, that is limestone. See, calcium, again I'll write, there is a calcium and carbon dioxide, okay? Whenever calcium or calcium hydroxide reacts with carbon dioxide, it produces calcium carbonate, that is PPT. Calcium carbonate, which is again PPT, which you know, isn't it? With the elimination of water. See, student, it is very important. It is very important. See, we have to consider one test, okay? So that is based on that we can confirm the presence of carbonate ions. Clear? First thing we have to consider aqueous solution or salt solution. In that case, we have to add carbon dioxide and we have to just shake the solution. In that case, what will happen? See, whenever carbon dioxide passed over calcium hydroxide, whenever, if in case you are considering calcium hydroxide solution, in this case calcium hydroxide solution, and carbon dioxide was passed on over this, yeah, it turns to milky. Very good, it turns to milky, isn't it? So that is one confirmatory test for carbonate. Yes. See, here it is turns to milky. It turns to milky. That is very important. That is very important. So next important thing you must know while doing experiment. If you add excess amount of carbon dioxide to that, it readily soluble. That means the milky or nature of milky nature is disappear. So that means if in case you are considering calcium, yeah. Any idea, student, which product you may get? See, calcium carbonate. So this product, again you are passing carbon dioxide. If there is some amount of water, what will be the product you may get, student? Any idea which product you may get? Calcium bicarbonate, calcium or hydrogen carbonate. Yes, calcium bicarbonate, Ca, composition HCO3, CaHCO3, but it is not balanced. It is not balanced because Ca with a +2 oxidation state, and it is HCO3. CO3 has a -2 oxidation state. With that, H plus is present, so that's why its whole oxidation state is -1. So that's why, see student, if in case I'll write a CO3 itself, it is calcium carbonate. It is right answer. But whenever we consider with bicarbonate, its oxidation state is -1. The whole oxidation state is -1. So that's why you have to consider 2. Okay. Is it clear? So that is calcium bicarbonate. It forms calcium bicarbonate, which dissolves. That means it is soluble. It is soluble. See, whenever you add carbon dioxide to slaked lime or lime water, what happens? It gives, or it turns to milky. It turns to milky. If you add further carbon dioxide in water, what will happen? It will disappear. That color will disappear. Why? Because calcium carbonate is converted into calcium bicarbonate. It is soluble in water. It is soluble in water. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So this is very important. You must know this. Okay. Next important thing, student, here. See, this is very important question. Mostly it will ask in an examination. Okay, just check your previous year question paper, you may get this question. So that is on here, if in case we are considering milk of, that is calcium hydroxide, calcium if in case we are considering calcium hydroxide and we are treating with chlorine, what product you may get, student? Just tell me which product you may get. Yeah, milk of lime it is. Milk of lime. It is milk of lime. We consider it as milk of lime. Composition is same, milk of lime, but it is suspension, okay? Milk of lime, whenever it reacts with chlorine, which product it may give? Which product? Yeah, that is right answer. Calcium chloride. One product is calcium chloride. Any other product, student? Any other product? Any other product? Yeah, water also produced. Water is also produced. H, okay, it is H. Water is also produced. Yes, it is hypochlorite, okay? Calcium hypochlorite. The product is calcium hypochlorite. Hypochlorite. Composition COCl, OCl twice. Calcium, I'll write here. Calcium hypochlorite. And this is important because it is used to prepare what? Bleaching powder. It is used to prepare bleaching powder. We know, isn't it? What is bleaching powder? It is used to prepare bleaching powder. This is calcium hypochlorite. Calcium hypochlorite, which is used for the preparation of bleaching powder. Is it clear, student? So this is very important. The question may be asked, which component or the composition of bleaching powder is calcium? Okay. So this is very important. Milk of lime reacts with chlorine. It forms calcium hypochlorite, which is main constituent of bleaching powder, which is main constituent of bleaching powder. Is it clear? So next comes uses of calcium hydroxide. Uses of calcium hydroxide. Can you tell? Can you tell me what are the uses of calcium hydroxide? Yeah, one thing here itself, it is used to prepare a bleaching powder. It is used to prepare bleaching powder. Second one, it is used in a tanning industry. Users, okay? These are users. It is used in a tanning industry. What is tanning industry, student? Tanning industry. Yeah, it is also used in whitewash. Yes. Tanning industry. So here treating skin, or we have to convert it into leather, isn't it? In that process, we use what? Calcium hydroxide. Clear? So here treating skin, yeah, treating skin of animal to form it in a leather form, isn't it? While forming that or preparing that, we use calcium hydroxide in a tanning industry. Second one, tanning industry. Second one, yeah, bleaching powder. I'll write bleaching powder. It is used to prepare bleaching powder. Then whitewash. It is used for the whitewash. Next. Any other thing? Any other thing? Yeah, it is also used to prepare glass. It is used to prepare glass. And the last important thing is, it is important for building material. It is used as a building material. Okay, it is used as a building material for mortar. Okay, for the preparation of mortar, we use this. Is it clear, student? Yeah, for salt analysis also we use. Yes, for the salt analysis also we use in a chemical. We write it in the form of in a laboratory use. Okay, we use it as a laboratory usage. Second point, bleaching it is. Spelling error maybe. Bleaching powder. For the preparation of bleaching powder. Preparation of bleaching powder. First one, tanning industry. So that's why I'm changing the ink once. First one, tanning industry. Second one is bleaching powder, preparation of bleaching powder. Third one, whitewash. And next one for glass making. And next for building material as a mortar. As a mortar, it is used. Mortar, it is not a motor. Next important Next, chemical composition of glass. We'll study in next class, okay? We'll study about that, okay? So here, again, chemical composition of glass contains silicon oxide, okay? Aluminum oxide, different compositions are there. Huh? So different things combine each other with each other to form a glass, just like a cement. Cement also has a different composition. We can't write its exact composition, okay? But we use silica. We use silica for preparation of glass. Okay. So next thing is, see, next thing very important. So that is second one, calcium hydroxide, sorry, calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate. Second important thing is calcium sulfate. Calcium sulfate. In that again we have to use POP, plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris. What is the composition of POP, student? What is the composition of POP? Plaster of Paris. Plaster of Paris composition. This is not a POP. This is not a POP. That is just a calcium sulfate. What is the chemical composition of plaster of Paris is calcium sulfate with half molecules of H2O, with half molecule of H2. So this is nothing but composition of POP, plaster of Paris. Is it clear? So now a question arises, how this POP can be prepared? How this POP can be prepared? So this is very important, student. You have to remember this one. So POP is prepared with the help of gypsum. So gypsum, what is the composition of gypsum, student? What is the composition of gypsum? So calcium sulfate with how many molecules of water? With how many molecules of water? Yes, 2 molecules of H2O. This is nothing but gypsum. So whenever gypsum is heated around 120 degrees Celsius, 120 degrees Celsius it is, or else 393 Kelvin, okay? 120 degrees Celsius, it will convert it into calcium sulfate with half molecules of H2O. That is nothing but POP. It will convert into POP. Further, if you increase heat or temperature more than 120 degrees Celsius, what will be the product, student? What will be the product? Which product make you get? See, again further we are heating. If we heat 2 molecules of H2O, it converted into half H2O. Again we are heating, it gives calcium sulfate. It gives calcium sulfate, and we call this as, any idea, student? Any idea what we call this calcium sulfate? This one, which was heated around more than 120 degree. Anhydrous, okay, but we have a specific name for this. So just write here, see, dead, burnt, in idea, POP, dead, burnt, I'll write it as DBP, plaster. Dead, burnt, plaster, DBP. Okay, we call it as dead, burnt, plaster. Yeah, because it is anhydrous itself, because water molecules were removed, isn't it, by heating. So that's why it is anhydrous itself. Okay, is it clear? And one thing, student, why we use POP? So uses of POP is more because its setting time is very small, isn't it? For POP, not for gypsum. POP has a small setting time. That means it needs very, yes, it is used, okay, it is uses. But it has a remarkable property of setting with water, isn't it? 5 to 15 minutes. In a 5 to 15 minutes, it will set, isn't it? So that's why we use POP more than gypsum, okay? So why we use POP is due to remarkable property of setting with water. It needs around 5 to 15 minutes, that's it, okay? So now users, you know the users, isn't it? Users of POP. Yes? Yes. Bone fracture, yes. POP is used in the building industry, yes, very good. Then it is used for the plaster, okay. Toys, very good. Yeah, dentistry, ornamental, yes, yes. Cement, yeah, preparation of cement. We use gypsum, okay. We use gypsum, we don't use POP. Yeah, those all are right answer, okay. POP is, yeah, statue. POP is used to prepare toys, statues, molds. Okay, for ornamental setup, it used for the molds. Okay, and then it is used to prepare. Yes, yes. In a dentistry also it is used. Okay, these all are uses of POP, and I don't want to write clear because you know so much about POP. Is it clear, student? And the last thing is about cement. So this is very important. You have to remember 120 degree or 393 degree. Sorry, Kelvin. So last thing is cement. About cement. We know why we use cement, isn't it? It is very important material which can explain economy and the status of whole. Yes, yeah. So it is, see, whenever we consider cement, it has a extra usage, isn't it, for the building purpose, isn't it? Building material or whatever it is, we use cement. Nowadays, it is very common. We use cement, isn't it? It is also called as, cement is also called as, students, you already studied about this, which is also called as, yeah, any idea? Dash cement. It is also called as Portland cement. Portland cement. Any idea why we call it as a Portland cement? Why we call it as Portland cement? See, student, because it resembles with no, it resembles with a limestone. It is resembles with natural limestone. Okay, natural limestone. Natural limestone which found in Isle of Portland, England. So that's why we call it as a Portland cement. It looks like natural limestone. It looks like natural limestone which found in Isle of Portland, England. So that's why we call it Portland is a okay Portland cement. Is it clear? So this question was not arised frequently, but you have to know, okay, why it is called as Portland. No, discover, no. Next one, how this cement is produced. See, student, cement is produced mainly by using calcium oxide, that is lime with clay. So cement is produced or obtained by combining lime, that is calcium oxide, lime with other material, clay, like clay. Because clay has, see, I'll write here, it has oxides of aluminum, silicon, sulfur, and magnesium. It has oxides of aluminum, silicon, sulfur, magnesium, and iron also. Okay, iron also. So calcium oxide is the main ingredient. Okay, with that we use clay, which contains, this clay contains oxides of aluminum, silicon, sulfur, magnesium, and iron. Clear? So this is very important. So the cement is obtained by combining calcium oxide and clay. So clay contains oxides of aluminum, silicon, sulfur, magnesium, and iron. So now what are the exact composition of this cement? See, student, if in case I'll consider cement, so first one I'll write L. Next one is A, that is S. LSAMIS. Okay, lime. So this one is lime. S is silica. Al is alumina. And Me is manganese or magnesia. I is iron. And S is sulfur trioxide. So I'll write composition, calcium oxide. Silica is, so students, silica composition SiO2 silica, aluminium Al2O3, magnesium oxide MgO, iron oxide Fe2O3, and last one is sulfur trioxide. You can remember it as LSAMIS. Okay, you can remember it in the form of LSAMIS. 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 So now see composition. For I'll start from here. It has only 1 to 2% of sulfur trioxide Again, it has 1 to 2% of iron oxide. Then comes magnesium oxide, which is around 2 to 3%, which is around 2 to 3%. After that, aluminum oxide is around 5 to 10%. 5 to 10%. Next comes silicon oxide, that is very important. Silica oxide, that is around 20 to 25%. And the last one is about lime, which is very important. It is around 50 to 60%. See, so these are nothing but its compositions or the abundance in a cement. Is it clear? Remember, 1 to 2%, it has also 1 to 2%. Next comes 2 to 3%, 5 to 10, 20 to 25, and 50 to 60. You can remember it in the form of sum is L is lime, S is silica, A is alumina, M is manganese, and I is iron. Okay, iron. That is nothing but ferrous or ferric. And S is sulfur trioxide. 3, it is sulfur trioxide, and it has its composition. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? And one important thing, student, good quality of cement is produced, or it is found when the ratio of S by A, ratio of S is nothing but silica, A is nothing but alumina. Ratio of silica and alumina is around 2.5 to 4%. 2.5 to 4%. If it has 2.5 to 4%, then this is a good quality cement. Is it clear? So sulfur to A, alumina. And second thing, another thing is the quantity or the ratio between calcium oxide and other oxide, that is nothing but iron, aluminium, and sulfur. So this is lime, okay, calcium oxide. It has around 2%. If it has this much amount or this property, it is a good quality cement. It is a good quality. Remember this point, student, 2 to 5% and 2%. Is it clear? Is it clear? So this is about cement. This is about cement. And what are the raw materials of cement? If the question was asked, what are the raw material of cement? In that case, remember, raw material for cement is calcium, that is limestone and clay. Raw material for cement is limestone and clay, where we compose or we extract calcium oxide from limestone itself. Okay, we extract calcium oxide with limestone. It is a raw material, and the main constituent is calcium oxide and clay itself, isn't it? Raw material, just note down the difference. Raw material is limestone and clay. The main constituent is calcium oxide and clay, because calcium oxide is again derived from limestone itself. So that's why it is a raw material. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So next thing is about usage of gypsum. Usage of gypsum. See, student, why we use gypsum in a cement? Why we use gypsum in a cement? Any idea? Why we use gypsum in a cement? Student, can you reply? Why we use gypsum in a cement? Sitting hardness, make hard for hardness. After water it gets hardness. No. Gypsum. I'm talking about gypsum. Why we use gypsum? Why we use gypsum? Very important. No. Why in cement we use gypsum, isn't it? So clay and calcium oxide, clay and lime, calcium oxide, mixed with each other, mixed to get to form cement clinker. It forms a cement clinker. Okay. Further, to cement clinker, we add gypsum. So its weight is around, the percentage of gypsum which must added is 2 to 3%. 2 to 3% of total weight of clinker. 2 to 3% of total weight of clinker. So after that, it will be called as cement. Clear? So first one, clay and calcium oxide mixed together to form a cement clinker. After that, we have to add a gypsum. It is around 2 to 3% of total weight. Okay, if 100%, if in case you are considering 100 gram of cement clinker, in that case you have to add 2 to 3 gram of gypsum. You have to add 2 to 3 gram of gypsum to form a cement. To form a cement. So now the question arises: why is this gypsum is used? See, student, gypsum is used to slow down the setting process. That is very important. It is used to slow down the setting process. Slow down the setting process. Very important, student. Setting process. It is not added for the hardness. Okay, it is not used for the hardness. It is used to reduce. It is used to reduce the setting process or a setting speed, because cement must set slowly so that it will become more harder. Okay, so that's why we use gypsum. Is it clear, student? Is it clear? So cement, clay or clay and calcium oxide reacts together to form a cement clinker. After that, we add gypsum. That must be at around 2 to 3%, and then it will be a cement. Last part. Clear? Is it clear, student? And remember, gypsum is not used to make a hard or hardness or setting or whatever it is. Okay. So next comes setting of cement. How the cement can be setted? Clear, student? Here, when cement is treated with water, whenever cement treats with water, what happens? It will starts to dry out. Clear? So here what happens? What happens whenever cement reacts with water? It gives a hard mass. Okay, it gives a hard mass. So after that, we add some amount of gypsum, isn't it? So due to hydration of molecule, it gives a hard component, hard composed thing. So whenever we add a gypsum, it will slow down the setting process of this one. Clear? So that's why if it slow downs the setting of cement, what will happen, student? What will happen? It will slowly set so that it will get more hardness. It is very important, and we must know this. Okay, you have to remember this point, student. So see, whenever cement mix with water, whenever cement mix with water, setting of cement will start. So it will form a hard mass. Clear? So that's why we add a gypsum. So whenever we add a gypsum, it will slow down the process of setting. So that means it gains a sufficient time for the setting process. If the process will be slowed down, in that case, the hardness will be more. So that's why we continuously add water, isn't it? So to set the cement clearly. So this is all about your cement. Is it clear? Is it clear, student? If you have any doubt, just ask me, okay? Is it clear, cement, about cement? So composition of cement is very important. Composition of cement is very important. After that, you must know about these all things. How cement can be formed. Cement can be formed. See, whenever clay and calcium oxide is mixed together, it gives a cement clinker. After that, you have to add gypsum to slow down the process of setting. Clear? And the whole thing is known as cement. Now, the whole thing is known as cement. So now, whenever cement comes with water, that is nothing but whenever we consider this cement with water, it will start to set. Clear? With the presence of gypsum, the process will be slowed down. If the process will slow down, the hardness of cement is moved. So that's why gypsum is very important. And don't think, uh, ma'am, we directly use gypsum, we don't use clay and calcium oxide. No, we can't. So that will give a hardness, and to slow down only we use gypsum, that too around 2 to 3%. I already given one example. If you are taking 100 gram of cement clinker, in that case you have to add 2 to 3 grams of gypsum, small quantity. In a small quantity you have to use. Is it clear, students? So this is all about your second group, that is alkaline earth metal. Here we end your second, that is Why we use cement with jelly? Again, same hardness process. Huh? With cement itself, we can't, isn't it? We have to take jelly and sand, silica, everything we need, isn't it? Yeah. Yes, yes, that is the answer. So here ends your chapter, okay? That is S block element. From tomorrow, we'll start a new chapter that may be in organic chemistry or organic chemistry. Okay, so that is very interesting because if we start organic chemistry, that is very interesting. You can enjoy that chapters, okay? Take care, students. Study well. S block is already finished. You can study. I'll send the question today or tomorrow. Okay, just remind me. Okay. Equilibrium, Prasanna sir will take. Pavan, equilibrium will be, yeah, Prasanna sir will take. Okay. Okay, then take care. Bye.